Hello, everybody, and welcome out to episode 3 of the Pod of War Nintencast. I'm your host, UF Gizmo, joined this week by Massive Dad, Chris McGilly.
Hello, everyone.
So, Chris, we're back doing another Nintencast. This time we haven't waited a whole year. We've done it pretty close. So, how are you? How are you doing today? You okay?
Yeah, I'm doing good.
Are you ready to talk Nintendo?
I'm always ready to talk Nintendo.
So before we get to our topic of the show, obviously on the screen now you can see the late great Satoru Iwata doing a Nintendo Direct, but we'll talk about the Wii U in a bit. So first of all, Pengi, what have you bought and what have you been playing on the Nintendo consoles?
Well, obviously you might have seen a video go up earlier of my Wii U collection because I bought a bunch of Wii U games of use.
You
So
have.
I just basically did it as one giant collection video because I just thought that was the easiest thing to do. I did put in Call of Duty Ghosts, see if there's anyone online. There was only one other person online.
I think the last time I tried to play Ghosts, which was about 2 months ago, I think we managed to get to 5 players, me and my partner, including us as 2. So that was fun, but yeah.
But then I put in Black Ops 2 because
people still love Black Ops. It's weird.
Which is the older game, but obviously it was a launch title for the Wii U. So I'm thinking more people might have been more excited for the Wii U then, and then by the time Ghost comes out in 2013, no one's excited for the Wii U.
Ghost was also on newer consoles.
PS4, yeah, because I bought it on PS4 as well.
I have it on Xbox, obviously.
Yeah, but Black Ops 2, there was 11 people online, so I don't know if that includes me or there's 11 others. So I tried to find a game. I thought, well, if there's 11 plus me, that's 12. Or if there's 11 with me, that's one match going. You have 12 in a match. Either way, couldn't find anyone. Then I got sent 2 friend requests from there, so they must have seen I was online or something. So I joined it, and then there was just 4 of us sat there, and it's like, well, there's 4 here, and then there's another 7 somewhere else, and like they must have a game going because I think you need 6 to get a game going, and we haven't got one going. So I never actually got to play any Black Ops 2 online.
Yeah, I've got Black Ops 2 still on my Wii U.
Yeah, so it looked slightly more active than Ghost, but not great. But then I was trying it like 3 o'clock on a Thursday.
Nice.
So maybe it'd be worth, because like even like set up. I was gonna record some footage of playing that, but unfortunately not. And then nothing else really worth like sort of playing multiplayer wise. I know that sounds a little silly because you got Mortal Kombat, Mario Kart 8, but like I just played Deluxe, and you all know Mario Kart 8 is going to be pretty active even on the Wii U, where like Call of Duty is a little bit more of a novelty thing. But yeah, unfortunately no one playing them at the moment, but I will try again.
No Black Friday purchases yet?
No Black Friday purchases.
There's a lot of temptations around, Chris. A lot of Switch deals I've seen today on stuff like Persona 5 Royal for 30 on Amazon was tempting me. Bravely Default 2 for 20 on Argos was tempting me.
I've not really looked because like Persona 5 for 30 quid is kind of tempting now that you're telling me, but I've not really looked because I can't think of anything I particularly want. I haven't sort of really got on the Switch at the moment, and I've got so much to play on the Switch, so I've just really been playing more Pokemon, which as it stands, I've got, let's say, 1 base to go, 1 Titan to go, and 1 gym to go. And then, once you've done the gym, there'll be, Victory Road and all that stuff. I don't know what happens after you do the one last Titan. See what happens then. And there's like the final part where I guess they all correlate together once you've done all 3 of them. So it's just Pokemon, really.
Yes, I mean, I'm kind of the same. Pokemon wise, I have like 1 of each, but not. I've done the gym, so I've got 1 of the bases and 1 of the Titans left to do. I fully think I might even be able to finish this tonight because I am going on holiday tomorrow, so I don't have to get up early really tomorrow for work. So there is a chance that I finish the main game tonight. Obviously, I'll still try and do a lot of the collecting. Obviously, if you've seen the news, it's hit 10 million in 3 days, which is crazy. I'm loving it. I'm loving it a lot. I mean, I don't think the glitches are as bad as people are showing. I haven't had anything that bad. I've just had really frame rate issues. That's kind of been my issues with the game. But I'm really enjoying it. I think so far it's my front runner for Game of the Year. Quite comfortably, actually. It's probably the most fun I've had playing Pokemon. My team is basically all new Pokemon as well, so like I don't think I've had that since Black and White. So yeah, really enjoying Pokemon, really enjoying it. Obviously, we'll absolutely talk more Pokemon on the Games Cast and probably in our Game of the Year discussion, if I'm honest. But as for other things I bought the Portal collection on Switch, the Portal Companion Cube collection, because I had some money obviously from Chris for the Wii U game, so I decided to put a tenner of that towards some Switch stuff. So I picked up the Portal collection. I've never played Portal 2, which is funny.
I've never played Portal 2.
Yeah.
It's always that weird one because I know it's supposed to be pretty good, but I always found like Portal 1 was that sort of game that didn't really need a sequel. It's like self-contained and that, and
it's probably one of those games when you play it. Like I'm guessing, like when we actually play it, you'll be like, oh, actually, yeah, I fully understand why this is a sequel and why everyone loves it. And obviously, then you've got the cult campaign, which is completely different. So
yeah, I have seen that. Is that on sale? Or is that its regular price?
Its regular price is £13.
Okay,
which is
so
really cheap.
It's a little bit off. So
yes. So and I had some points. And I had
that does seem quite a good price. I don't know how much, because I know on like Xbox and PlayStation it would be through like backwards compatible. I don't think you can even play Portal 2 on a PS4 and PS5.
No, that's a PS3 game. You can play it on it's backwards compatible on Xbox for sure. Because I think it was Games for Gold not long ago. But
yeah, I feel it's more expensive than the new collection on Switch.
Potentially, yeah. I'd rather play it. I mean, it's a game that will work really well on handheld, single player, and obviously then multiplayer. The Switch version does have split screen, so it's like, okay, well, I'll play that with probably either my partner or a friend or something, and that'd be fun. I kind of, after playing a little bit the first one, kind of hope they put, like, I'd love them to put the Half-Life games on Switch. Would love them to. There's no reason why they wouldn't run because they're old games, but like I would fully play the Half-Life ports on the console ports on Switch for sure.
Yeah, I was gonna say the halfway there, just put the orange box on there.
Yes, orange box and the PS2 version of the first game would be ideal. Would be ideal. But yeah, I think that's all. That's it for purchases so far for the Switch. I probably will get one more thing. When I get back from my holiday. I've got my eye on one game, which I'm not going to say until I get it. It's not any of the games I've mentioned for you, Chris, but I was tempted by Persona for that price, but I don't know how many more times I can play that first dungeon. So
yeah, I was going to say you've tried that on like PS4, PS5, and Xbox.
It's just, I don't know. I think my problem with Persona is I was trying to capture the lightning in the bottle that was Golden, Persona 4 Golden, and Persona 4 Golden hit a time in my life where it just was perfect, where like I was working late hours, and so I had every evening and all my lunch breaks to play on my Vita. It just hit at a good time, right? But yeah, anyway, that's not a Nintendo chat. So without further ado,
it doesn't come to Nintendo till
January. So yeah, and if it's physical, that'll tempt me, but we'll cross that bridge.
Yeah, I'm hoping like I think you mentioned it, like a double pack with 3.
If it's a double pack with 3, I would almost certainly buy it, and it would then just be picking a platform. It'll be picking trophies or picking handheld. That'll be basically the choice. So
yeah,
I'm not sure what will win, if I'm honest, but we'll see. We'll see. But yes, Pengy, as you can see from the screen, loyal viewers, we're here to talk about the Wii U, Chris.
Woo!
The Wii U, and obviously, which is terrifying to say, the Wii U came out 10 years ago, little over now.
It certainly did.
Which is crazy as a statement. Like I remember buying that. I remember running down the road and getting that console. We've talked about how we got our Wii U's many times, so we won't talk about how we got the Wii U's. We're just going to talk about the Wii U's in general. So first of all, Chris, how do you initially, just without thinking too much about it, how do you view your memory of that Wii U era?
Pretty good, because I was I would say a lapsed Nintendo fan with after the Wii sort of thing, and then going into the Wii U to Switch, so it definitely got me sort of back in Nintendo. The Wii U. It sounds weird considering how it didn't do.
Yeah. Yeah, and for me it's kind of the same. I mean, I wasn't massively in love with the Wii when it came out. Again, me and you are at the same age, so we kind of had the same views. Like at that time, I was really much into online games and higher graphic games on stuff like the Xbox and the PS3. So I just didn't enjoy the Wii. But then the Wii U was this shiny new thing for me. Like I left uni, like it was the first console I bought after uni. It was a HD Nintendo console. Like it had a proper controller. Like I was really excited for it, and I loved my Wii U. I love that era of Nintendo because I think it was the most fun that Nintendo's ever been, because they had Iwata, you had Reggie, Bill Trennan, Shibata, people like that were just fun. It was just always fun, like all the time. Like they were trying so hard for people to buy the console that like every little direct was quite fun. Like all these weird E3 things. They had like Robot Chicken and the Muppets and all that kind of stuff. So I always really enjoyed Nintendo in this era, and the Wii U in itself, I still think it's the most underrated console, maybe of all time. It might be a controversial thing to say because I just think the library was so good. Like, and it's obviously so good because everyone buys the Switch ports, So
They certainly do.
The Wii U had games; it just didn't have third-party games. I don't really think Nintendo fans want those games. Do those games sell that well on Switch, like Assassin's Creed and things like that?
I don't really know. I remember seeing once. This is like a while ago. Because obviously Nintendo do their like financial thing. They always show like their top 10 published and that. And I think like there was something like the number one third party published game on the Switch was Mario Rabbids, the first one. I was like, well, of course it is. Even though it's a Ubisoft game, it's Nintendo, isn't it? And then I think the next one was like Minecraft or something. So who knows? But like EA, I know they put very little effort into FIFA every year on it, but they still put it on there for a reason on Switch. So people must be buying it. And like you still get Alan Wake recently got ported, and even though that's apparently a dreadful port on the Switch, someone must be buying those. And then I've bought a lot of third party games the same that this year on there, but most of mine have been like day and date Tactics Ogre and all that sort of stuff with the other systems, not sort of Assassin's Creed, and they always feel like kind of Nintendo-y as well, like JRPGs. I think that's because like I know the Switch is a hybrid, but like most of my DS and 3DS and even back like GBA playing games were obviously things that were like RPGs and stuff like that. And I know Tactics Ogre started on SNES and then like the PSP. Again, the PSP is a handheld, Switch is portable. I think it gets that weird sort of feeling when Assassin's Creed, I think, all big blockbuster, I think, play that nice and shiny on like a PlayStation 5 or whatever.
Indeed, and obviously when the Wii U came out, I think the first 2 years, I think Nintendo tried to view the Wii U as that big home console. And you say if you look at the first 2 years of the Wii U, you got Assassin's Creed 3, Assassin's Creed 4, you got Call of Duty Black Ops 2, Call of Duty Ghost, you had Mass Effect 3, you had Deus Ex, you had those type of games. I think by 2014 you had Watch Dogs, you had Darksiders, you had a lot of these games that were on other consoles. A lot of the ones that didn't make it, obviously stuff like Sleeping Dogs and Assassin's Creed Rogue and stuff that I think would have made a bigger splash on Wii U than necessary. But yeah, the Wii U I think is really strange. It's a very much a transitional console in every sense, because it's the transition from this Wii mindset to the Switch mindset in the end. But obviously we loved it. Obviously we're showing Pikmin 3 is on the screen right now. Like that was, that's a game that I know it's come to Switch now, but I still think it plays best on Wii U. I still think Wonderful 101 plays best on Wii U.
Wonderful 101, I definitely can see why they talked about it in my pickup collection video, because obviously you can draw on the gamepad. Like Pikmin 3, I don't know how you played it. I used the gamepad as the map, and then used the Wiimote and the nunchuck to
Yes, that's how I played it as well.
Thing. But you can't do that. Well, I guess you could do that on the. Can you do that on the Switch? You
can use the Joy-Cons, but you can't use the screen as a map.
Yeah,
and the Joy-Cons aren't quite as good as sort of Wii Motion Plus and a nunchuck. I don't think.
No, I can see that.
Yeah, and obviously the things about like a game like Wonderful 101 is that had dual screen stuff as well. So on the Switch and PS4 ports, you have to switch between the screens because there'd be bits where you go underneath. Like there's a bit where you go like in like a factory, and
Yeah,
you have to and you have to like spin numbers that you see on the outer side of it, like stuff like that. So it has that like the best way I can describe it is like Link Four Swords. Like it has that kind of like dual screen thing, which is really cool. Again, a game that should have been ported to Wii U, I think. But yeah, as for the console itself, like, what do you think about the gamepad, and what do you think about like the Pro controller? Because I personally love the gamepad a lot. I think it's a great controller, and I do like the Pro controller as well.
Yeah, the gamepad is because obviously like play with mine earlier. Play with mine. The weird thing though, like I know I've had some issues with Xbox controllers recently, with like stick drift and stuff like that. But we got like Mega Drive controllers like 30 years old. Like the gamepad does look like it's showing like 10 years old. Like how because it's that weird shiny plastic.
Oh,
It is looking.
it's gross. Like in
Yeah,
terms
it
of how
looks.
it feels great. But that glossy finish was such a bad
Like
decision.
picking up today and looking at it today, it was like this looks like it's 10 years old. It's so like the glossy, like so many like smudgy spots and that on it. But yeah, it was actually really nice to hold and stuff like that. Yeah, the Pro controller was interesting because it had like PlayStation style, like the sticks side by side, but then they had them on the top, and that was like always weird because they were the only ones that did it, and then back to the Switch, they've done like the is it I can't even remember it, but it's Xbox style with the sticks.
Xbox.
So it's like they only
style.
yes they've only done that once, like with the sticks on the top. Well, I guess it was to match the gamepad.
Yes, that's exactly why they did it.
But it was a bit of a weird thing because the Wii Pro controller is down the bottom like a PlayStation, so that was
No
I guess.
consistency for that for that 10-year period is what you're saying, Chris.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think the Pro controller. I think the biggest thing that I think we all loved about the Pro controller is the ridiculous battery life, and the fact that it was so like light and comfortable. Like I mean, I remember using it. So the games that I remember using it very very constantly for, was obviously Monster Hunter 3 Ultimate, which is the last Monster Hunter that I was in love with. I absolutely adored that game, and I played that with the Pro controller quite a lot. Ninja Gaiden Razor's Edge, fantastic port. It was an exclusive port at the time for a very short amount of time. Fantastic version of that game. Darksiders was a really good version of that game with that controller. And like you said, just having the stand with the Wii U gamepad as a map was a really unnecessary but lovely bonus of having the console. Like I remember my friends used to be so jealous when we play Call of Duty Black Ops 2, and they'd come over to mine and we'd have two screens because you could have one player completely on that gamepad screen, and like little things like that just were cool little things that you could do. I think the problem with it was I think it was enough. I think it added too much cost to the console, so it wasn't really worth it. But for someone who used the Wii U as his main console for 5 years, I think it was a really cool addition. But
It's got me thinking now. Remember that era, like the map where you had, was it Smart Glass? Was it?
Yeah, they had Smart Glass at Xbox One launch, and that was about a year that you could do that.
And Ubisoft had something as well, didn't they? Where you could have like maps on your phone for like Assassin's Creed if you're playing on this other system. Like all that's gone of. I presume no one used it. That's why it's all gone away. Because I can't.
I think it's just too much of an extra cost. I think that was really the issue with it. But yeah, the Wii U does have a headphone jack. So that was fun. So you could use you could actually play multiplayer with your headset.
Yeah, because playing Call of Duty comes in. It's just like if you plug in a headset, you can like chat to your team or something like that. It comes up with which is weird. Like now on Switch, you got to use the silly Nintendo chat on the mobile phone and all that stuff to get it going.
So I don't think anyone uses. I mean, I've used Discord the whole time with.
Yeah, I think everyone I know uses Discord or something else.
Yeah. So moving on to more Wii U chatter, let's talk about 5 games we both like. Off the cuff here, I know you like it be a bit more planned, but I like the off the cuff because I think it gives you a bit more of an emotional response. So I'll happily start off, Chris. So my number 5 game. This is not in like my favorite list. This is just 5 games I really like, and it's because it's on screen right now. Let's talk about the wonderful 101 from Platinum Games. Platinum Games obviously was sort of a weird second party on the Wii U, and Wonderful 101 I think was one of the first really great exclusive games. Obviously it's no longer exclusive, but a really great exclusive game at the time. I just think it was a little bit misunderstood. Did you play it at the time, or?
Yeah, I did. I did play it at the time. I've actually got, because I have a list made on. I can't remember what the actual site's called. It's just like GG Gap or something like that, where you can make lists and that. And I have my Wii U list up. I do have that in 10th spot on my actual list, because, like you said, it's really great use of the gamepad. It's exclusive to the system. Platinum, like you said, it's got this weird sort of like relationship with Nintendo, where they do things like this. I know this the Switch port, and then I guess it's also, was it PS4 but not Xbox remaster?
Yes, yeah, it's on PS4, it's on Switch, and it's on PC.
But really sort of neat. I know a lot of people, even though I didn't get no problem with the controls, I do know a lot of people didn't like the controls, which always seems weird, especially now, like you're talking about like the remaster where you got to do and like switch screens and stuff like that, where it was like already done because you have the gamepad.
Yeah, people didn't like I think people were confused by the drawing mechanic, but I always used the stick and I had no problem at all. So I just think it was one of those things, if people trying to rush it or maybe playing at a higher difficulty perhaps, but yeah, like I had no issues with the control at all, personally. It's quite a hard game. I had quite an issue, especially early on. If you don't take the time to learn how to play it, it can be quite challenging. But yeah, how about you, Chris?
But where's Wonderful 102? That is the
it's much like, I mean, it'll be on the next Nintendo console. That's its only hope. It's like Bayonetta 2. We only got it because Nintendo paid for it.
Well, they need to pay for Wonderful 102.
They do.
Yeah. No, I'm gonna put out a third-party game, and proper sort of third-party, even though it looked like it was gonna be exclusive for a long while. I think Ubisoft must have seen the writing on the wall about the Wii U, because I'm talking about Rayman Legends.
The great disappointment. The great disappointment, because the game was great.
It's fantastic. It's a fantastic game.
But they really screwed us, didn't they? They really screwed us. So yeah, what about Rayman Legends do you particularly like on Wii U, Chris?
Again, it's the gamepad use, because this game has been ported to everything. But I remember playing demo of it in like the demo stations of the Wii U, because it was supposed to be a launch title. Then it got delayed, but there was demo stations like game and that, and using the gamepad for like some of the Murphy levels and stuff, where you can, you have to draw your line and move your blocks around and all that. It's actually really good use. And then, even though they don't really take use of the gamepad or like the Wii U, but the music-based levels and stuff like that are just fantastic, and the game looks beautiful. It's like one of the best looking games on the Wii U, just because its art style of the Ubisoft engine.
Yeah, it was a strange tale, actually, because if you remember, they apologized and they released like the challenge demo, which would give you like the weekly challenge mode that was in the game, like for a couple of months early.
Yeah.
If you were on Wii U, but yeah, I was so disappointed about that, because I think they delayed it to September, to hit with the other consoles, right, or something like that, and then that basically ended up killing the game. So I think it came up against like 2 or 3 much bigger games. Like you'll remember, like if we look back, you'd remember the games, but like I remember it getting killed by other games because and I still think the Wii U version was still the best selling version at the time. Obviously, you can get that on it's on Switch, you can get it on toasters at this point, Rayman Legends, but
again, it's like one of those things. The Wii U version's most probably the best version of it. Maybe like, I don't know if there is like a Xbox Series X version that's at 4K or whatever. But
no, I don't think it's had. I think if at most it might have auto HDR, but I think because of all the levels are just more playable on Wii U. I think you're probably right.
Yeah. Weirdly though, I always remember the Vita version surprisingly good, because it has the touchscreen light. the Wii U, so the Murphy levels and that were like on PlayStation 4 and stuff, so it hasn't got that. So weirdly the two best versions, mostly the Wii U and the Vita of the uh, uh of the game.
One day we will do a whole Vita episode. Don't worry, Chris. One
Yeah.
day. But yeah, I suppose for another game for me to talk about, let's talk about a game I know you hate, Chris, and that is Legend of Zelda: Breath of the Wild. Which, as you mentioned in your video, I did indeed play it on Wii U, and
Yeah.
Luke has never forgiven me, for the record. But yeah, I mean, I think for a game like that,
But it's a Wii U game ported to a
it was the
Switch,
Wii.
you know.
It was the Wii U game first. Yeah, I mean, like,
Yeah,
I think the story,
Like Twilight Princess is the GameCube game.
literally. So like, I mean, even more so than that, 'cause I think didn't it come out like a little bit early on Wii, and then they brought it out later on GameCube.
Yeah, it actually came
Yeah.
out on GameCube, and Wii came out in November, and then GameCube version actually came over here. I don't know about in the States or anything, and then came to GameCube in December, so I had it pre-ordered on GameCube. So I played it on Wii first, then GameCube, but the GameCube is like the proper version.
But yes, Breath of the Wild on Wii U. So it's the thing about Breath of the Wild on Wii U, and why one of the reasons I wanted to play it on Wii U is that it'd been in the zeitgeist discussion about Wii U for about 3 years, 4 years, right, Chris? When between first announcement and release, so it's like it felt like a proper send off to the console. It played almost exactly the same as it did on Switch, certainly at launch, and I absolutely loved it. Like the fact that the Wii U was capable of such a game, to me, was just crazy. And it just made me feel sad that game didn't come out. I think for Nintendo, it's lucky they delayed it and it came out with the Switch. But for me, as like a Wii U player, like if that had come out in 2015 or 2016, like I think maybe the Wii U could have had a bit more life. But yeah,
I think it would have. Anyway, it really would have helped the Wii U if it was like
it was launched.
Or like 2014, like the console launches in 2012. Was it 2012?
It was.
10
years.
2012.
That's why we're doing this
And then,
discussion.
Yeah, and then 2013 have it like the first anniversary is November 2013. Because I think that initially would have helped the Wii U, but like 2015, 16, it would. The thing is, most probably Breath of the Wild would have done abysmal. Well, unless it had like the Mario Kart 8 treatment, then got ported to Switch, but and done well there. But I think for the game's sake and like Nintendo's like sales, it's most probably the right thing to do.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, the Wii U version's great. And obviously it's one of the best. It's probably my favorite Zelda game currently. I do need to replay some, see if that's still the case. But yeah, it's just an incredible game that I was really happy to play on Wii U when it came out. And I feel like I'm going to be one of the few people to ever say that that it was indeed how I played it. I've never really played the Switch version of Breath of the Wild. It's actually going to be a bit weird to play Tears of the Kingdom. So it
hasn't got like any Wii U extras or anything.
No, they took all that out. Yeah, so basically they took it all out. So it basically is the same game. Like I said, I think I said when I did might have even done a video about it years ago. But it's one of those where like if you closed your eyes and then we just handed you a controller and you wouldn't know the difference. I don't think I think maybe like it runs worse. But when I say it runs worse, like it's more like when there's a 1 frame drop on Switch, there's a 2 frame drop on Wii U. Like it just runs at 720p, like 30 or whatever, like the whole time, and it's fine. But yeah, I really enjoyed. I played it I think it took about 90 hours to get through that game. So yeah, super enjoyed it. How about you, Chris? About another game?
Oh, what about another game? So, well, we've already mentioned Pikmin 3. So, what actually did come out on the first anniversary of the Wii U? And I remember I went and bought my PS4 at midnight, and I also got this game along with my PS4. And when I brought my PS4 home, I plugged that in, did its day 1 update and all that. Did I play Killzone right away? No, I played Super Mario 3D World right away on my Wii U.
What game? Did you get the furry case when you bought it?
Yeah, it did come with a furry case. It was like a furry slip case, wasn't it?
We both have the furry slip case. Yeah, what a game. Again, this is a controversial thing to say. I think this is such an underrated game. That's only really got any love since it's come to Switch.
Yeah, well, I said in like my channel video earlier, like I really want to play that Bowser's Fury on the Switch version. I've just never seen the Super Mario 3D World cheap enough to justify buying that just for that content. I know it's like an 10 hour thing, so it's quite chunky, but it's like never seen cheap enough just to buy for that like 8-10 hours thing. But yeah, it's a really good game. I think the problem is, I think it came off the back of Super Mario Galaxy on the Wii, and obviously you have Super Mario 64 and like Sunshine, where people go, "Oh, a 3D Mario," and then it's more like it's a 2D Mario, but in a 3D, which sounds like a really weird thing. But it's like you start at the beginning of the level, you finish the level, you got your flagpole, and that stuff where you get in the 2D Mario, you don't like roam around the level, which you do in Super Mario 64 or whatever.
Yeah, I think it's a big problem. And I think this is also the problem with the new Super Mario Bros. U, is Nintendo released like lots of similar games across all their platforms in a very short space of time.
We had 3D Land on.
So we had 3D Land on 3DS, which then went into 3D World, and then obviously because it's quite similar, like you said, it's got that 2D design in that it's like feels like a 2D Mario, but it's not. So then we already had new Super Mario's Wii 2 and Wii U within like 2-3 years of each other. Then we had 3D Land in 2013, as well as 3D World, and it's like, okay, so I think people were just finally fatigued, and it's frustrating because they're all great games. It's not a game I'm going to mention in general, but I really love New Super Mario Bros. U because I didn't play Super Mario Bros. Wii or Super Mario Bros. 2 first. I played the Wii U one was the first one I played since the DS one. So like I loved it because I thought, wow, this is a really fun, beautiful game that like is so unique and fun. But like everyone's like, yeah, I've played this game 4 times. You know what I mean? So it's like, yeah, 3D World had that problem. I still enjoyed it at the time. I remember I did a list on my blog actually. God, this is really making me feel ancient. But I did put it at number 1 for my top 10 Wii U list for a couple of years until a game, which I'm sure we'll talk about in a minute, overtook it. But yeah, really great game. Obviously introduced us to Captain Toad as well, Chris, which is not introduced us, like there was Captain Toad levels. I think Captain Toad was in Galaxy, but yeah, it was really cool.
You got like a proper Captain Code. I was just had like a weird thought. It's New Super Mario Bros. U on Wii U, but it isn't it? It's New Super Mario Bros. U Deluxe on Switch.
Yeah, it still says U in the Switch port.
Yeah, which is
a really good port as well, which is sad.
No, I was just having like. See, I know we're getting a bit off tangent. Like the Switch is 6 years old, but we've only really had like one new Mario game on it, and that's Odyssey. Because 3D World's a port, and then New Super Mario Bros. U is a port. So it's only Odyssey.
Yeah, Mario Maker 2 is a port. Because also Mario Maker 1 was there.
Yeah, that one I wouldn't really count as a sequel, isn't it? But
yes.
It's like Splatoon's not going to get ported because you have 2 and 3 on the Switch.
Yeah, absolutely, and obviously people really loved Mario Maker 1. Mario Maker 1 was probably the one game that if the Wii U was ever going to be successful, it was going to be because of that game, because it was huge on YouTube and Twitch at the time, if you remember. Like everyone was playing Super Mario Maker, but yeah, it just didn't hit, and then Nintendo had its awful YouTube rules at the time as well, which stopped people making games. But yeah, there was a lot of weird games on Wii U, obviously. Another game, at this point we're not even talking about top 5 games, we're just talking about games. We had Hyrule Warriors on the Wii U, which I think we both quite like. It's like a different type of game. Didn't have many sport games this time. Obviously on the Switch we've had every sport, but on the Wii U we just had that awful demo, which was just, you can tell that game was like, we need to put a game out this year, and I know you're working on a game for the Switch, but can you put out the demo? And it was a demo basically. Still a great fun game, it just is because no content. And then I suppose it's the big daddy, Chris, which is of course Mario Kart 8, which is the best game on console, right?
No, it's not. Bayonetta 2 is the best game on the console.
Okay, yeah, I mean, because you will never give a racing game best game.
Wait, I've got Mario Kart 8 as 6 on my list.
What?
Yeah.
What's wrong with you, Chris?
Yeah, my list. Right, so 10 is Wonderful 101.
Right.
9 is Twilight Princess HD.
Okay.
Then it's 8 is Hyrule Warriors.
You like Hyrule Warriors more than Twilight Princess HD?
Well, it's the Twilight Princess is like, I'm trying to, because of Hyrule Warriors.
Because your list is already starting to sound like you haven't actually picked your favorite 10 games. You've just picked you've politically picked 10 games. That's how this is already sounding, Chris. But go on, what's the next game?
Right, I put Hyrule Warriors higher because it's a new game, and then Twilight Princess I already played on GameCube and Wii.
Right.
So it, lacks a little bit of something. Then it's Splatoon.
Right, okay.
Then it's Mario Kart 8.
Okay.
Then it's Rayman Legends.
Oh, okay. Disagree, but go on.
Then it's Pikmin 3.
Absolutely disagree, but go on.
Then it's Super Mario 3D World.
Okay.
Then, what I just said about Twilight Princess?
Yeah, I was going to say, you're going to have Wind Waker high because you love that game.
Just ignore that. So then it's Wind Waker.
Idiot.
And then it's Bayonetta 2.
So this is the level of, this is like doing these shows with you, Chris. Like, people don't understand, whenever we have to do any sort of thing, or we have to make a list, or we have to do something, we have to literally set Chris rules, because Chris doesn't abide by any rule. He just makes his own rules up as he goes along, and then changes his mind mid-rule. I'm surprised you haven't put Bayonetta 1 up there as well, just for shits and giggles. But
no, because that was just basically a port, wasn't it? So
it's a great game though. But yes, but yeah, Bayonetta 2. Bayonetta 2 is a funny one because I don't think it's sold very well. I don't think it ever sells very well.
No.
But I have to collect.
Bayonetta 3 and most really worse.
You're the only person I know that's purchased that game. I haven't seen. I don't know if any of the guys in the forum have bought it. I haven't seen much Twitter stuff about it.
One or two, but I don't think many. I think it's
not like Pokemon where everyone's bought it, and then Sunbreak, for example, that most of them have bought. But yeah, not. And you haven't got Monster Hunter in your top 10, which is quite
I didn't play Monster Hunter. Didn't really. It was really Rise, the newest one that I've actually really got into. So yeah. But again, I think that just shows the library is actually better than most people think.
Oh yeah, I mean there's games
on the Wii because that's my top 10, and then I got obviously Rayman Legends as a third party game, but Need for Speed Most Wanted You is a fantastic port on.
It's literally the best racer that isn't Mario Kart.
And I played quite a lot of that on Wii U, so I could do, if I had that of 10th or you had that on 10th, I'd be like, yeah, I can't. There's no reason really against that. Something I know a lot of people like that. The Donkey Kong game, for instance, on there.
Great game. Would be in my top 10. It's not on yours. Paper Mario Color Splash would be in my top 10, and I know it's not on yours because I don't think you finished it, but I love Color Splash. I think Color Splash is much, much better than Sticker Star and much, much more fun than Origami King. I really didn't like Origami King, and I've said that before on the podcast. I think the battle system is awful on Origami King. I don't think it's amazing on Color Splash, but it's quite Color Splash is just an enjoyable game. Color Splash is one of the funniest Nintendo games I've ever played. Just such a great game. Really so underrated. It's criminal that game will probably never ever get ported. And
which is weird.
The 10 of us that bought it will play it.
Because I don't think there's. It's one of those games I can't see a reason why there's no port, because it's not like it really uses the gamepad.
So it did use the gamepad a bit, but I think you could get around it pretty quick because you had to color the cards. But
it's not like Kirby where you have to
draw. No, another great game we haven't mentioned actually, Kirby Rainbow Paintbrush and Yoshi's Woolly World. A bit of a left field one, but Star Fox Zero is kind of a fun game. Once you get used to the controls, it's not awful. I think it's if you played it.
Yes, I have played it.
Okay, because I think once you get used to controls, it's fine, but it's just too similar to 64, and there's no reason why there shouldn't be a dual stick version of the game. There's no reason why they didn't just patch in a second load of controls. But that's the biggest problem with it, I think. But I quite enjoyed it. I mean, Star Fox Guards.
It'd be interesting if that ever does get ported.
I don't think so. They'll just port 64 again.
If they sort the controls out, how people do view it, because there's been rumours. Well, not rumours, because Sakurai mentioned it on his YouTube channel about Kid Icarus Uprising port to the Switch, and those people don't like the controls of that, even though they're perfectly fine on the 3DS. But it'd be interesting sort of thing.
But yes,
you didn't mention Xenoblade Chronicles X, which is another baffling one why it's not being ported, considering how well the Xenoblade games have done on Switch. And I can't see
I think they're just waiting for a break. I think they haven't stopped, have they? Since the Switch has been out, they've put 3 games and a massive DLC out, haven't they? Like I don't think they've
They
stopped. Like those
they
games
help
must
a lot
take.
of other.
Yeah, and they
Yeah,
help on
but
everything.
they
Those
must
games
be
must take
like.
time. So next time they don't have like if Xenoblade Chronicles 4 isn't due in the next 5 years, I wouldn't be surprised if they went back to X, maybe did X and then an X
Yeah,
sequel using the engine
yeah,
because
but
it's a very different game to the other ones as well.
yeah, that's the thing. But you could surely like panic button. Can you port this for us to the Switch from the Wii U?
Maybe.
There must be someone. Or is it Tantalus or something Nintendo uses?
Maybe.
I think for ports.
I feel like
Yeah,
Xenoblade. I feel like Monolith Soft would want to do it themselves though.
yeah, most probably. But that
Really,
seems
really great game, by the way. It's too long,
right.
and I mean that as in the nicest possible way because it is by far the longest. I think less. I don't know about 3 because I've never looked, but it's a lot longer than the first game. It's a lot less story driven.
Right.
But a wonderful game. It's still probably the best exclusive left on the Wii U, I would imagine.
Most probably because you got things like left as like that and Game and Wario, which isn't that great, and the Kirby game, which is thing, but most probably Xenoblade is still the best one left. But the Xeno, going off a bit of tangent, like I'm really shocked, like Square, seeing they've put out like not Chrono Trigger, Chrono Cross this year. I know that was a bit of a remaster to bring back Crisis Core Tactically. I'm really shocked, like they've gone, let's just put Xenogears on something, and same with Namco was Xenosaga. I just don't get like they've got those IP, they own those games. Why neither of them have actually put them back out on anything?
I mean, it's one of those things, Chris. I mean, Microsoft literally owns Banjo-Kazooie, and they don't use it, right? So it's like, I don't think we can ever understand these companies and how it works because it's just this,
Yeah, but with Banjo, I guess you would have to make a whole new game. When like,
well, even that, like they could do enhanced remakes. They could do, you know what I mean? Like this, they've done. Sure, they did 360 ports, but they could do other stuff. They could port them to Switch, like properly port them to Switch. Like, I think it's the same with everything. Like, I don't think we understand how these companies work.
No, I'm just thinking how popular the Xenoblade
Saga is and stuff. Like they might do them, but again, we don't know. We don't know.
Especially with
how
Square,
that IP
like
works.
they like to put stuff out quite frequently this year, and they do. Like the Chrono Trigger remaster wasn't all that, so I can see them doing a really well. They did the Final Fantasy like 7, 8, and 9, like the PS1 ones, something like that for Xenogears. I could see, and like market it like this is where the Xeno Blade series started or whatever.
But yes, back to Wii U, Chris.
Yeah.
Yeah, I suppose there isn't really too much else to say in terms of the games. We loved it. Obviously, it gave its life, Chris, so that you may have the Switch.
Yes.
It gave its life so you could have the Switch, and then but 10 years, it's crazy. I say the only other thing I'm going to talk about, I guess, is the indie boom. Kind of started. Nintendo's indie boom kind of started on Wii U, and there's stuff like Severed. I mean, I remember playing Shovel Knight and stuff like that. And then of course there's the Virtual Console, which is probably still its best feature, right? That still isn't on Switch. Yeah,
because it's still pretty good amount of games and that on the their Virtual Console, and like the Wii ports and that. Like you can get Metroid Trilogy for like 20 quid,
which I bought recently on the, I think I mentioned on the show a couple months ago.
Which seems a bit of a bargain considering how much that is physical on Wii.
Yes, especially because it's like the Wii U's one of the Wii U's best features, and the feature that I think will get its most use out of me over the next 10 years is that it's basically a HD Wii. So it outputs in 720 1080p, upscales slightly Wii games. So I remember playing some Skyward Sword, and I remember playing. That's how I played the eShop version of Mario Galaxy 2. Was in because when they released these games, they put them all in sales, if you remember rightly.
Yeah.
So I got a lot of them. And Xenoblade Chronicles actually is the version I have is the Wii port that's on Wii U and stuff like that. It's it's a very interesting sort of little nuance to the console.
I should really I haven't actually got my Wii U plugged in, but I have my Wii plugged in.
I think I have both plugged in because I literally, it's weird. Like I literally use the Wii to play GameCube games. And that's because I have a HDMI out Wii, and then I use my Wii U for everything else.
Yeah, that's why. Because I got obviously a big GameCube collection, so I was like, well, instead of having my GameCube plugged in, I have my Wii plugged in, so I can play GameCube Wii, have the HDMI out, plus it's modded, so I have I have quite a few Japanese and American GameCube games as well. So if I did want to play them, it's like I can or if I want to play like imported Wii games, like could, where like the Wii U. Like you said, I could actually play that for Wii and Wii U. Either way, the one system is you playing two systems
Yes.
and sort of thing. It's just I think I'm more likely to play GameCube than Wii U in 2022 or almost 2023, which
Yeah,
sounds a bit
it's
weird, seeing GameCube's older, but having such a big collection or whatever.
So do you
On
think, I suppose
GameCube.
this is the last question to ask really before we end the show, like, do you think the Wii U in 10 years time turns more into that retro console? Because like you said, it can play Wii games, it's quite easy to mod, like there is some Wii U games that are better on Wii U, like, you know what I mean, like and obviously the virtual console, if you've got a particularly good library of virtual console stuff already, because obviously the servers are going down soon, like I've got about 40 games I think on mine.
Yeah, I got a good, like, I don't know, 15, 20. I really should look at picking up some others. It's just like I was going to get the Castlevania GBA games, but then they got a collection on like PS4 and Switch and stuff, and I'm like, oh, I'll just get that instead. And there's always the rumor of a Metroid Prime like remake, remaster for the Switch. It just put me off a little bit. And then I like our main podcast the other day where you talking about like physical games, like to collect physical games. So if I had the opportunity to get Metroid Prime Trilogy physical on Wii for a decent price, I would mostly go that route. So not sure, because I'm talking like a collector and like collecting Wii and Wii U. And I'm thinking 10 years time, the people that would be bothered about Wii U would be collectors, so they wouldn't, I guess, be thingers like the modding. They would be more about the physical games on there, which there isn't a huge lot. I think is 164 in total in Europe. Like the States got like a Madden and stuff like that, but they didn't get Project Zero, so balances out, I guess, with the total amount of games. So it could be a weird one, but then we've seen like Devil's Fair is already expensive because it's only on Wii U and it's never going to get ported. I don't think so. Who knows?
Yeah, and I guess for me the biggest thing is it depends what Nintendo does next, I think, because I don't think the Switch is going to be a console that lasts 10 years, because it's already so breakable, if that makes sense. Like it's thinner parts, it's smaller parts. Like the Joy-Cons are notoriously dodgy. I've got a problem on my Switch where the actual the Joy-Con dock on the console doesn't always register the Joy-Cons together. And I've had that problem for about 6 months, and I just don't have. And it's not just the Joy-Cons. I've used other controllers, and it still does it. It's not loose or anything. I've tried tightening it. So like, you know what I mean. So I think personally, a lot of these big Switch games I might end up playing more on the Wii U in 5-10 years time, because I have them on disc and I'll plug it in and it'll work. And it depends entirely on what the next Nintendo move is.
Switch 2 is completely backwards compatible.
Yeah, then of course that changed, because then it was easier to get Switch games and stuff. And I think Nintendo has to do a Switch 2, but then the last time that they did a direct console sequel was the Wii U, and it didn't do very well. So I don't know what they do. To be honest with you, I think they're kind of in a bit of a corner now. Where
just don't call it Switch U.
No, but it's whether the Switch is now, and this is a conversation for another Nintencast, I'm sure. But like, it's whether the Switch, they view the Switch now as more of how they used to do the handhelds. So like the Switch is like the Game Boy, right? Where like you can call it the Game Boy Advance and people will still buy it because it's clearly a newer Game Boy, and I think that might be the way Nintendo goes. I can't see Nintendo ever doing a fully home console ever again. I think the Wii U has scared them off, and I think the amount of money you need to put into R&D to make consoles as powerful as like Xbox is now, I just don't see it. I just think they'll have to have a handheld element now. So it's fascinating. And that's really the only reason why like I look at like the Wii U and will I play it. Like I still think it, like much like the Wii. Like the Wii came out 16 years ago. Like I still drag that bad boy out and play some games on it. Like me and my partner played the Wii and the GameCube on it quite a lot. So like I still think the Wii U has a life in 10 years time, but it's every year I always do the show at the end of the year, and I always usually have that one Wii U game I've played at least. It gets less Wii U games every year. So far, I haven't had a Wii U game. I've played a Wii game on it. I have finished a Wii game on my Wii U this year, but so far I haven't finished the Wii U game. So it is running out of games that I haven't played.
Yeah, for me, it's obviously I got those games off you, and it's collecting. And there is cheap games on there, like Lego games you can get for like £2.
Yeah.
But it's not a huge, not like I would like to go back and maybe finish Paper Mario Color Splash. There's like Xenoblade Chronicles X possible, but then it's like playing a 70-hour RPG on my Wii U. It's a bit, crazy. Taking Mirage sessions, but then I have the Switch port of that. That's definitely something I do want to play. But most of the others, like, I've either played before, like the 2 Call of Duties, or it's something like Amiibo Festival, which I'm never going to play. It's just, it's just there.
So I guess actually for me it's Zelda right now. Like if they don't port Twilight Princess and Wind Waker to the Switch, like I've been hankering to play both games for a while, but I've just been holding off because it always gets rumored, so I just haven't done it. But like I'm getting pretty close to replaying both those games. So
weirdly, the Wii U is actually a really good system for Zelda, because obviously you have Twilight.
Isn't it the best? Isn't it, like, statistically, like it has the most games?
It's either that or the GameCube if you count the Game Boy player as well.
Right, because of all the ports.
You have Twilight, Wind Waker, and Breath of the Wild. You then have Hyrule Warriors. You can play the Wii version of Twilight Princess. You can play Link's Crossbow Training as well. And then you've got Ocarina and Majora through Virtual Console. You've got Zelda and Zelda 2 for Virtual Console. Link to the Past through Virtual Console. I think that's everything.
Minish Cap is Virtual Console.
Oh yeah, because I forgot you got the Game Boy Advance ones.
Because that's how I played. The last time I played Minish Cap, I played on Wii U.
Yes, I was.
And I think the Link to the Past port that's also on Game Boy Advance is on there as well. The Four Swords one.
Yeah, it might have both versions of Link to the Past, and it might have the Super Nintendo.
I think it does have both. I definitely, because it was 30p Link to the Past. If you remember, they did the 30p thing at the start, and that's how I got Super Metroid as well. But yeah, I think for Zelda, it's a very good console, and it's one of those things. Like I was never a big Zelda player, probably until the Wii U. So like any sort of any Zelda fandom I have now is through the Wii U. So we have that to thank for it as well, Chris.
Yes.
Give me another port of Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask, by the way, because I don't want to crap my like. If I'm not going to play the Wii U, I'm even less likely to play the 3DS.
That's the thing, because those are like the best versions yet. They're stuck on the 3DS.
And I'm tired of playing the N64 versions of Ocarina of Time, Chris.
Yeah.
Tired. But anyway,
here's Ocarina of Time 3D. HD or HD 3D, whatever.
They'll do it. They need some money at some point. But anyway, that's enough Wii U chat for this week. So goodbye Wii U. Thank you for the last 10 years. It's been fun. Obviously, next episode of the Nintencast will not be Wii U related. We don't know what it's going to be, but it will be something. We'll definitely do another one before the end of the year. If not, there will be a Nintencast.
It'll be something like the GameCube's 25th anniversary or something like that.
It could be a Monster Hunter episode. That's a possibility, and if we do that, we will probably have to call in some experts from Chris's past life to help us talk about that. But we'll watch this space. But yeah, if we don't see you, have a lovely time, and we will see you on the Nintencast for the next episode.
Bye.